Comics are a very different thing these days than when I was a kid in the 70s reading superhero comics, and I'm sure the same with you. Now we have graphic novels, of course, and they've been given a measure of respectability in the publishing world recently, and mentioned that some of the comics companies have been courting people these days from the world of literature to come across and write comics. Jonathan Ames, Alcoholic and Jekyll, Wonder Woman, to name a few. Do you think that this current climate of acceptance of comics by the publishing world affected your willingness in any way to come across and do comics?
That's a really good question. I hadn't thought about it. I just wanted to do something different. It didn't occur to me that anybody else was doing. I mean, when they try to sell you on it, Joe Hill's doing it, and so on. Jody Picoult's doing it, and so forth. But I don't know. What about you?
Nope.
No, I mean, I didn't have to be convinced. It was basically okay. Well, I have a window of time in which I can do this.
Yeah.
And that's really a lot of the times how you make the decision. It's like, this would be cool. I have a window of time in which I can do it. We can finally do something with this script that's been laying fallow for 10 years. And so it was more that than I got to tell you, publishing, whether it be graphic novels or books or anything, everybody in it is so freaked out and so has no idea what's going to be happening in 6 months, let alone 2 years. Trends are meaningless. And there are so many people now in publishing, more than I've seen since I've been writing, which is 30 years, that are trying to identify trends as if you could jump on the trend, and nobody knows. So you can't, if you're a novelist, you can't follow trends. You can't write, this will be hot now. I mean, nonfiction authors do all the time. I knew, in fact, when O.J. was on the 405 in the Bronco, Joe McGinnis was negotiating that book, the O.J. book. I mean, that's how jump on it that nonfiction people are. But novelists, you just have to write the best story you can and hope that it appeals to an audience and that something doesn't hose you in the news. So trends. I'm not even sure trends exist.
Yeah, things go so fast anyway.
The other thing I want to add to that is that the trend that does exist is that Hollywood is in love with graphic novels. And if you look at the number of movies right now that are based on graphic novels, it is absolutely stunning, right? I mean, a huge number. So it's kind of ironic that we wrote this as a script, then we got it published as a graphic novel, and now we're probably going to go back and hopefully do it as a movie. It's sort of like this weird kind of circuitous route, but and I've been approached to do other graphic novels, and I'm thinking, well, I've got another script I wrote that I think would lend itself well to a graphic novel, and in turn, it would be a wonderful sales tool, right, to get it set up as a movie.
Yeah. What do you think is comics' special appeal in reaching an audience, and how does it compare to film in that regard, and even literature?
I think the demographic is pretty much the same, really. I mean, I think people still love the idea of taking, a portable story with them and being able to, have it and keep it on the shelf. There's also the new phenomenon of all these things coming out as ebooks.
Right.
And graphic novels as ebooks they can be pretty beautiful, especially if you have like an iPad or one of the new tablets. I mean, those screens are amazing, and they lend themselves well to, pictorial, storytelling.
Yeah, I think the other thing is there's a length. It's always been, I think, conventional wisdom that you can make a better movie out of a short story than you can or a novella than you can out of a novel, because there's too much in a novel to get into an hour and a half or 2 hours. Graphic novels tend to be about 120 to 140 pages. They're almost perfect, and that's why they storyboard. And that's the other thing too. And so one of the things I've dealt with, having novels out there for 20 years with Hollywood, is they'll buy them or option them, and they go, well, we just can't see it as a movie. Well, they can't say that with this. We go, well, look at the picture. You know, that's how, and then imagine that moving. Because if they don't have that much imagination, they really need to get a different job. But that's, I think, a big part of it is that, you know, film is a visual medium and graphic novels are a visual medium. It doesn't take that much to translate one to the other. You know, they can, you know, because any of these big, you know, special effects movies, no matter what their original source was, they've been storyboarded. Every single shot has been, you know, planned out and drawn at some point. So I think that's an easy translation.
Right.